Shock horror. I'm sure you're all very surprised by this news. General Motors won't in fact beat Tesla in 2025 and sell 1 million EVs. Whether that's cumulatively over the last century or just in the year 2025, no one knows. But anyway, either way, General Motors are not going to do it. They've got plenty of excuses though. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching the Electric Viking. It's great to see you guys. Just want to make it clear. I actually think GM's EVs are not bad. I wouldn't say they're the best, but I'd be happy with some of them. Unless they were recalled for major battery failures, I'd be happy with them. Now, I do think most of that is in the past now. That said, it's worth pointing out. GM did cancel some of their battery factories, which were going to be using what? LG Energy Solution battery technology. They cancelled some of them in order to build lithium iron phosphate batteries with CATL. Yeah, that tells you something. Anyhow, General Motors shocked the world in 2021. Well, when CEO Mary Barra announced it would go zero emissions by 2035. Or at least it, shocked some people. Maybe it shocked General Motors shareholders, or I don't know. Anyway, one of the first milestones was to have production capacity to build 1 million EVs per year in North America by the end of next year. That's not going to... GM have realized that's a pipe dream. They don't even have enough batteries for that. Not even half that number, in fact. Mary Barra said this: we're seeing a little bit of a slowdown here. We won't get to 1 million because the market just isn't developing, but we will get there, said Barra. Now, does General Motors have a demand for the affordable EVs they said they'd make? Like, for example, if General Motors was selling a $65,000 Chevy Silverado with 400 miles of range, which they've said they will, could they sell hundreds of thousands of them? I think they could. I think the problem isn't so much demand, it is the price and GM's ability to actually deliver the amount of cars that they need to deliver. If you think about it, GM just doesn't produce that many vehicles. Have we heard any stories, guys, of GM fields of EVs just sitting there rusting because GM made too many? We haven't. We've heard that about Ford, but we haven't heard that about General Motors. Although General Motors is having some of its best EV sales months in its history, it's still clearly struggling to ramp up battery production and to ramp up EV production and, to fix its software issues as well. The launches of its Ultium-based EVs have had numerous software problems, massive ones, manufacturing and also quality problems. And this, in my opinion, is the key issue here. It's not what Mary Barra is saying, that the market doesn't want to buy the cars. If you look at the market this year, EV sales have actually increased by 12% in North America. But they could have increased a lot more than that if we hadn't had all these negative news cycles because of problems like GM's battery fires, for example. Now, whether it's infotainment screens that don't work on the Blazer or the Lyric, GMC Hummer trucks that have bricked themselves, and DC fast chargers, all kinds of issues, battery problems. There's been production issues for GM. And I think that GM is just trying to blame consumers, saying, consumers just don't want the cars. It's not our fault. Well, we tried. Really, is that the truth though? Well, let's have a look at China, guys. 50% of all cars sold in China in the last 2 months have been plug-in hybrids, not hybrids, plug-in hybrids, so EVs, essentially kind of an EV, and fully electric cars, 50%. Now, the US market, it's way behind Europe, it's way behind China, but it could be a lot further in front of where it is now if GM had delivered on at least some of its goals. A lot of GM's problems have to do with software in its EVs. Software is something that Mary Barra admits is important to General Motors buyers. Getting it right is clearly important, and General Motors has found that very challenging. General Motors, she said, is moving to an all-electric future. Almost what's more important is that the vehicle really is a software platform, she said. Now, GM's tracks, basically its record with software hasn't been particularly good. They had to recall all Blazers because the software was absolutely horrendous, and then started selling them. It was like 57 different problems that journalists said the cars had when they began selling them. So that's not going to bode very well for potential customers buying the car. Barra, though, says this. She's optimistic. We will be guided by the customer. Now, blame the customer for your inability to actually provide EVs in big numbers. at prices that are reasonable, right? That's, I think, the big issue here. And quality. The next 10, 11, 12 years is going to be pretty transformative in the way people move, said Barra. Now, guys, I agree with that. EVs will revolutionize the world. I mean, CATL have just revealed that they have their new battery for EVs will last for 1.2 million miles, 1.24 million, about 2 million kilometers it'll last for. Any EV with that battery with some good software is going to be just groundbreaking, especially at prices that EVs have hit now in China, where they're on parity with internal combustion, but lasting for far longer and providing you much cheaper operating costs. Now, that's the future of the industry. There's no question. Is GM going to be a part of that industry? Well, honestly, GM are pretty much becoming an America-only brand. They have lost massive amount of market share in China this year. Their sales continue to fall at a rapid pace in China because they weren't ready for the EV revolution in China. And there's no excuse for that. I mean, many other companies were. Now, GM is pretty much become, like I said, a US, Canada, really like a North and South America company. I believe it's going to lose a massive amount of market share in South America, Central America, Mexico, because Chinese car manufacturers are targeting those places. There are no tariffs on Chinese vehicles in those places, or very limited tariffs. So they are targeting those places. GM has no chance there in the long term. The only market GM will actually be able to hold on to is America and maybe Canada, because of their attempts to also put taxes, big taxes on EVs coming from China. So GM will have that. But that is a shrinking market. GM, my friends, is in trouble. That is a fact. Prove me wrong in the comments. I encourage you to do so. Let me know some facts, reasons why GM will suddenly, all of a sudden, become a global car company once again, or somehow at least get back some market share in China. I don't see how that could logically happen, but maybe I'm just missing something. Thanks for watching.